If you're a woman who eats well, trains consistently, and still feels exhausted, bloated, or just stuck, this video might help explain exactly why. For decades, most mainstream fitness advice was based on the male physiology, who have stable hormones, different stress responses, and different fuel needs. So today I'm going to break down 5 science-backed ways women can optimize their nutrition and training. If you're someone that cares about their energy, metabolism, hormones, this video is for you. So why do women's bodies actually need a different approach to men's? Well, women's hormones fluctuate across their menstrual cycle, and those shifts affect how we respond to fasting, intense workouts, carbohydrates, and even recovery therapies such as sauna or cold exposure. That doesn't mean women are fragile, it just means that optimization looks different for them. So my first science-backed tip is avoid training fully fasted. Fasted workouts tend to be glorified online, but in women, especially those who are already under eating or have a missing period, this can severely increase their cortisol and suppress their reproductive hormones. Most early fasted training research was done on men, and men tend to have fairly stable hormones. Their testosterone is stable day to day, their metabolic and stress hormones don't fluctuate monthly, whereas as we know for women, these fluctuations do happen on a monthly basis. So when women train hard, without eating, especially repeatedly throughout the week, the body interprets that as low energy availability, meaning that there's not enough fuel to support survival and reproduction. From an evolutionary perspective, female physiology is much more sensitive because of how energetically costly reproduction is. So when fuel is low, the body cuts off the reproductive system first to prioritize survival. So if you do train in the morning and you don't like to train on a full stomach, which isn't advised either by the way, just try having a small pre-workout snack. Aim for around 15 to 30 grams of carbs and 20 grams of protein. For example, some fruit with Greek yogurt, a protein shake with a banana, toast with nut butter. It doesn't have to be a full meal. Just remember, fuel first, and don't let your body get into that stress state. The second science-backed tip is heat therapy over constant cold exposure therapy. Now, although cold plunges, ice baths, cold showers can be very beneficial for recovery, strengthening the immune system, stimulating blood circulation, this can be an added stressor onto the woman's body, which is already very sensitive to extreme temperature therapy. So adding daily cold showers can just be pushing the woman's nervous system into overdrive. Now, one thing that can be said is women's bodies actually do quite well with cold exposure, but nowhere below around 10 degrees Celsius. One thing that women's bodies do really like though is heat therapy, such as saunas, that have been linked to cardiovascular benefits and extra relaxation. Also have been linked to much better recovery, improved skin health, and many other benefits. This was actually supported by a large Finnish study that was published by Mayo Clinic's Proceedings, and they found that frequent sauna use was associated with improved heart health and actually increasing longevity. My third science-backed tip is time-restricted eating over intermittent fasting. Now, when we wake up in the morning, our cortisol is spiked, and that means that our body is already stressed and our hypothalamus is already in this sensitive and reactive state. What helps us suppress that cortisol spike in the morning is eating. So women should aim to eat within 30 minutes to an hour of waking up to help decrease that cortisol spike. The longer we fast in the morning and the longer we put off eating breakfast, the longer we are keeping our cortisol spiked, which is again putting our hypothalamus into overdrive and stressing out our body and putting our body into this stressful state. The longer we are in this stressful state, we are actually hindering our own ability to be able to achieve our goals. For example, if your goal is to maybe lose body fat or regulate your nervous system, by skipping breakfast, you are making it much more difficult for your body to be able to achieve those goals. When your cortisol is spiked, and when your hypothalamus detects that you're not getting fuel within 30 minutes to an hour of waking up, that's going to signal to it that it needs to hold onto more body fat to preserve energy for the future. If you let your hypothalamus and your body know that fuel is always available, energy is always available, it's not going to feel the need to hold on to the extra fat storage. And fat loss is going to be way easier for you. The same with trying to regulate your nervous system. If you are keeping cortisol spiked very high from the moment you wake up and you are prolonging the time you wait to have breakfast, you are literally just keeping your body in that stress state for the whole morning. A much gentler approach, which works much better for women, is time-restricted eating. This means that you eat within a specific time period or a time window. For example, you eat at 8 a.m. and finish eating at 7 p.m. Prioritize finishing your dinner or having your last meal earlier over eating breakfast later. If you want to do a longer fast, just have dinner earlier and fast until breakfast the next morning. This is much better for your circadian rhythm and avoids that cortisol spike in the morning if you decide to skip breakfast. Personally, I try to have breakfast around 9 to 10 a.m. every morning and finish eating between 7 and 8 p.m. in the evening. A little bonus tip is make sure your last meal is at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. This makes sure that your body is prioritizing rest and recovery during sleep rather than digestion of the meal you just had. My fourth tip is prioritize eating carbs and healthy fats, especially if your period is missing. For women who are in that energy deficit, carbs aren't the enemy. They are actually vital for building that trust back up with your body. But what is even more important is healthy fats. A common myth or misconception within diet culture is that fats make you fat. And quite frankly, it's the exact opposite of that. Healthy fats are essential for hormone production, and making sure that your body has a regular intake of healthy fats within every single meal is so important, especially for the woman's body and if you want to have balanced and regulated hormones. Some of my favorite healthy fat sources are avocados, nut butters, especially almond butter, coconut yogurt, dark chocolate, eggs, seeds, olive oil, coconut oil. There's just an endless supply of healthy fats. They're probably my favorite food group because they just taste so good. And also, healthy fats help keep you satiated, preventing cravings throughout the day and so preventing overeating and preventing that urge for you to grab a snack in between meals. My last tip is try to sync your training intensity to your cycle. During the follicular phase of our cycle, which is after menstruation, estrogen rises, and this makes many women feel much stronger and help them recover faster. So in this phase, you can be prioritizing much higher intensity workouts, whether that's going to the gym, weightlifting, whereas in the late luteal phase, core body temperature is much higher and fatigue tolerance often drops. So here we want to be prioritizing low intensity movement, walking, Pilates, yoga, and focusing on recovery rather than high intensity. Now, this doesn't mean that you should skip workouts. It's just a way for you to be able to adjust the intensity of your workouts to align with your menstrual cycle without putting too much stress on your body. Now, training with and aligning with your biology instead of fighting against it is one of the smartest long-term strategies you can adopt. Not only to make you feel better, but also make movement enjoyable for you and your body, and stop forcing yourself when your body clearly needs to be recovering. So those are my top 5 science-backed ways to optimize women's nutrition and training. But just remember, optimizing isn't about doing less. It's about doing things smarter. So fuel your workouts. Choose recovery tools and therapies that calm your system. Eat enough carbs and fats. And pay attention to and respect your cycle. If this video helped you, I'd really appreciate if you took the time to subscribe and like this video. And send this to someone who trains hard but still feels exhausted and sees no results from it. Also, comment which one surprised you the most. I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye!